Good morning. It is 9:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. So I have exhibited unbelievable self-control the past couple days.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Unbelievable self-control.
I mean, explanation before I buy that.
There were no "it's going to be May" jokes on the 30th of April or on the 1st of May. And I just want to let the audience know it was really hard for me to do that.
You know what? Fair. Absolutely fair.
I just want everybody to know I can keep it in sometimes and really be as professional as some expect me to be.
The persona extends to real life. It's impressive.
Yep, you can send the thank yous to the text line, 615-737-9986. You're welcome. You're welcome. I really did. I bit my tongue for days.
It's appreciated. I honestly, my Instagram feed completely void of it. So I think it's you. Yeah. You didn't do it, and it kept the waves back.
We kept them away. All right, there's a lot to get to today. Man, oh man. You know, I always love it when I'm driving in and essentially Topic A has completely changed. You know, Topic A is the biggest news story of the day. That's a little inside baseball. But I'm driving in, economic numbers are out, and it's like, okay, all right, this is where we're going. The numbers are in, and people are surprised at how strong the economy is looking today because, well, I don't know. I don't know if you knew this. We're entering the golden age of America. This is Fox Business reacting to the numbers this morning.
Seeing the numbers, by the way, were very, I was a little surprised to see how strong they were, but this is very encouraging because we're already seeing many of the companies dependent upon foreign suppliers already reshoring some of their jobs. In fact, I talked just recently to a couple of entrepreneurs who are getting off their China dependency. They are going to other Southeast Asia companies for their supplies, and they're starting to look at domestic manufacturers. So they're putting orders in already for the third and fourth quarter for this. So
people are ready for the golden age of America. These numbers show it. The U.S. added 177,000 jobs in April, better than expected. Is that a good thing? And, you know, everybody's been telling us that the economy's falling apart under Trump. We've had chaos and we've had escalation, and China's going to eat our lunch. Yet, I don't know. To everybody that's black-pilled, all the doomers out there, employers in the United States added 177,000 workers to their payrolls in April. That's what the Department of Labor announced today. And the unemployment rate, unchanged, 4.2%. They say this is defying predictions of labor market sluggishness following President Trump's announcements of tariffs. Economists, they were only predicting about 130,000 jobs. And an unemployment rate unchanged at 4.2%, but the prior month's job figures was revised down a little bit to 185,000. But the strength in hiring came once again from the private sector, which added 167,000 jobs. Economists had expected private employers to add just 125,000 jobs. So this was massive. This was great. And people already are reacting to this and being like, wow, can you believe what we're seeing? And they're going all in on Fox Business. Everybody's very excited about it. This is Charles Payne.
As I look at this initially, the one thing that really jumps out to me that I love, transportation and warehousing. Those are the jobs that were supposed to be hit, right?
Yeah,
up 29,000. Yep. The prior 3 months was up 2,000, up 18,000, up 17,000. An acceleration in those type of jobs that were supposed to be the ones that were hit. So maybe some of this manufacturing, some of these deals that the White House has announced, maybe we're starting to see that already play out. I know that we saw earlier in the week Elon Musk needing another 1,000 workers, Taiwan Semiconductor opening a third plant in Arizona. So this is phenomenal. Goods producing was a positive job number. This is just it just proves that we have an economy that all the experts continue to underestimate. And I think they're looking through a prism of political hatred, for lack of a better term, rather than being logical about the greatest economy in the world. There are reasons countries want to come here. There's a reason people buy our treasuries. There's a reason a dollar is the world's reserve currency. And the notion that they can flip a switch and find a replacement for America is nuts. And yet that's been the Wall Street narrative all along.
That's right, because the media can't get out of its Trump derangement syndrome and just report the facts.
So you're telling me that the experts underestimated Trump? Well, something like this has never happened before. I've never seen this take place.
You sure about that?
Okay, well, maybe once or twice or like about 100 times.
Obviously.
Thank you. So the job numbers are in. The jobs report, way better than expected. Way better than expected. Stephen Moore was reacting to the jobs numbers on Fox Business as well. And I mean, this guy's just staring at his phone. He can't even believe it. He's dumbfounded.
436,000 increase in the number of people who are employed. So this is an amazing report. The number of people, the labor force participation rate rose. So this is a really strong number. I wanted to mention one other quick thing. About 2 weeks ago, every headline, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, was, the stock market is crashing. And since then, the market has been up, like 2,800 points.
Yeah, well, you don't see that
and by the way, I don't see headlines about that.
That was the point, that Scott Bessent made. Yeah, Scott Bessent made the same point yesterday. That,
exactly, he made that point.
Yeah. So the media is not telling you the full picture. The media is driving the hysteria. The media is driving the chaos. Weird. Who could have predicted that? Well, I mean, anybody that's semi-paying attention could see the writing on the wall, right? Anybody could. One of the big things that I took away from this was the amount of workers hired has really tipped in favor to native-born American workers. If you look at this chart here, we had 1.04 million native-born worker jobs added, and only we've lost 410,000 foreign-born worker jobs. The whole idea of America First is absolutely taking this country by storm, and it's taking the jobs by storm, and it's all because of Donald Trump. It's all because of this plan that they've put into place, that they've put into action, and they're executing on. Donald Trump has said over and over again that we're going to be witnessing the golden age of America. He had a big speech last night at the University of Alabama, and he said, hey, guys, congratulations. You're the first graduating class in the golden age of America. The labor secretary was on Fox Business this morning talking about just that, the promise of the golden age of America.
Here last month, we said we blew it out of the water, and we did. And with President Trump at the helm, I'm telling you, he mentioned to the American people over and over again that the golden age was coming. I will tell you the golden age is here. Exactly right. Again, this is another great jobs report. Exactly what the market expected, better than expected. And I couldn't be more honored to serve under the president with these jobs numbers. And now as I continue on the road, we're going to keep pounding the pavement, and these numbers are going to continue to go up.
These numbers are going to continue to go up. Donald Trump on Truth Social. Gasoline just broke $1.98 a gallon, lowest in years. Grocery and eggs down. Energy down. Mortgage rates down. Employment strong. And much more good news as billions of dollars pour in from tariffs. Just like I said, and we're only in a transition stage, just getting started. Consumers have been waiting for years to see pricing come down. No inflation. The Fed should lower its rates. DJT. Yeah, let's go. Let's start lowering these rates. Let's make it even better for the American people. But I think everybody's pretty confident with what they're seeing. The average American on the street, looking at these gas prices, looking at the grocery prices. Yeah, I think people are feeling pretty good right now. The media doesn't want you to feel that way. The media is going to tell you that GDP shrank. And yeah, okay, that's fair. Let's see how it looks next quarter. Let's do that. Because I have a feeling that these numbers are going to be going through the roof. Maria Bartiromo says this is going to be the best economy we have ever seen. And you can hear the confidence in these individuals when they're speaking on Fox News. They really do believe what they're saying. They're not blowing smoke. They truly believe that we are entering into the best economy we've ever seen.
As President Trump would say, it's going to be the best economy anybody has ever seen. Look, we got a market that is reflecting that, and he's just done a huge deal with Ukraine, establishing this U.S.-Ukraine Reconstruction Investment Fund. What are we waiting on? We are waiting on India. We are waiting on South Korea. We are waiting on Japan. We could see trade deals there. And, of course, we are waiting on next week with the European Union coming up with its own proposal proposals. No doubt that is going to include a proposal to lower tariffs between the U.S. and Europe. And then we'll see what happens with China. That's the biggie. Already, they're quietly exempting U.S. Goods from tariffs in China. So that's a positive. And that is why we've got this market rally underway.
So we'll touch base on China here in a minute, but you're seeing the business leaders reacting to this. They're hiring. They're onshoring manufacturing. And we're seeing inflation down to zero. Former Toys R Us CEO was on Fox Business this morning, and he says, listen, this is going to put us in great shape moving forward.
Inflation as a whole has largely been driven by too much government spending and not enough supply. That will be remedied. As we look to the future, agricultural products are already in line. The tariffs are too insignificant. I know this sounds funny to say, but too insignificant in the size of the overall economy to be a major driver of inflation. We're going to be in great shape as we round the corner towards the holidays.
We're going to be in great shape as we round the corner to the holidays. And we're seeing the Trump effect still taking place. It was just announced that Kimberly-Clark is going to invest $2 billion in U.S. manufacturing. $2 billion. This is a company that makes diapers and things like that. And they're going to have a $2 billion investment in a U.S. manufacturing site. The maker of Kleenex tissues, Huggies, diapers, expects the move to create 900 jobs. You're seeing this over and over and over, and yet the media still tells you that we're going to lose because of the tariffs. We're going to lose because of the trade wars, and I just don't see it. Scott Bessent, when it comes to China, he doesn't see it either. In fact, he said with China, they are currently in free fall. We talked about this yesterday. Factories closing down, hundreds hitting the streets to protest. They could be in a position where if this goes on any longer, they're losing up to 16 million jobs in China. So Scott Bessent said, guys, China's in free fall. They are in free fall. The CCP officials are just biting their nails over this. You're seeing empty cargo ships loitering around ports, millions out of work. And Scott Bessent says for these guys, time is running out.
A couple of weeks, a couple of months. What's your timing, Mr. Secretary?
Well, again, Maria, as I said, the Chinese need to de-escalate these high tariffs because there is the equivalent of an embargo, and the Chinese business model is built on selling cheap goods to the U.S. They sell us about 5 times more than we sell them. So, their factories are closing down as we speak. We're going into the holiday season. Orders are placed for that now. So if those orders aren't placed, it could be devastating for the Chinese.
And listen, you can say a lot of things about China. I wouldn't call them exactly dumb. I think that they know exactly what time it is as well. And they're seeing some of their biggest companies pivot on how they're doing business. Temu has ditched cheap China deals and is switching to local sellers for the U.S. Let me repeat that again. Temu ditching cheap China deals, switching to local sellers for the U.S. It's massive. This is from Bloomberg. Temu, the app where you can buy $2 sunglasses, 50-cent socks, is dumping its made-in-China game plan. Now it only wants to sell American stuff from American sellers to Americans. And when you ask why, it's because those tariffs are turning those cheap Chinese deals into not-so-cheap nightmares. Trump slapped huge taxes on imports, and Temu basically said, fine, we'll just sell local and avoid the drama. They claim prices aren't going to go up, but we'll see how long that promise holds. Temu is pivoting away from doing Chinese business. That's insane, right? Like, is that not insane? And every step of the way, the media wrings their hands and they cry and they're so upset that Donald J. Trump is doing this for the American people. Donald Trump met with some great Americans last night. He was at the University of Alabama. He was giving a commencement speech, and it was pretty cool listening to the message that he had for these young Americans as they're graduating at the University of Alabama. I'll bring you some of those highlights on the way. A lot more to get to. Hang out with us. It's 9:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Glock Store, and I got to tell you about one of my favorite events of the year. It's happening so soon. Before we know it, the Glock Store's 5th annual open house, Saturday, May 31st. They do it every year. They throw open the doors, they roll out the red carpet for all of Nashville, and they have raffles, deals, and full auto fun. This party's going to be a banger, and this year, the raffles are nonstop all day long, and we're talking custom Glock handgun giveaways. Yes, giveaways as in plural, plus premium gear. You name it, you could win it. And even if you don't win a raffle, you're still winning because the deals are going to be wild. You need ammo? Of course you need ammo. We got to check out the Burrow Bullets Blowout, 1,000-round tac packs of 9mm and 223 packed in custom ammo boxes. You're not going to believe these prices. And they're bringing out the full auto rental rifles again, 9mm, 5.56. You can rent them. You can shoot them. I've done it. It's awesome. You're going to want to do it too. So mark it down, Saturday, May 31st, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, especially Saturday, May 31st for the 5th annual Glock Store Open House.
What to expect from today's round of thunderstorms. And tucked into that positive jobs report this morning, there is another bit of good news. We've got that coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. If you want to support the show, support our sponsors, Better Water LLC, betterwater.com for water filtration systems. Donald J. Trump, he was given the big speech yesterday at University of Alabama to a stadium full of graduates. And he said, congratulations, guys. You're the first graduating class in the golden age of America.
As you graduate, it's natural to reflect on 4 years of happy memories, and you've really had happy memories here. You've done a lot of winning. Winning is a good thing to do. But today I'm also asking you to look forward to really something very, very bright and more promising, and it's going to be an even more promising tomorrow. I promise you that. You're the first graduating class of the golden age of America. We're in the golden age. You watch. It's the golden age.
Now, he got a lot of applause from this crowd over and over again, and it's wild, too, because the things that got the most applause was just when he was doing things like, I don't know, having common sense policies like this.
And as long as I'm president, we will always protect women's sports. Men will not play in women's sports.
They seem to like that in Alabama. Big fans.
No way. They say that's an 80-20 issue. No, it's a 97-3 issue, I think. No, men will not be playing in women's sports. I said that, and I classified it with a very powerful executive order. As you know, it's done.
Yeah, and the crowd enjoyed it, but he had a message for these kids, and he says, guys, what we're witnessing is a revolution in America. Now, he says we're 250 years after the first revolution, and the revolution we're witnessing now is just as big.
Now, exactly 250 years after the first patriots stood and fought at Lexington and Concord, we're in the midst of another kind of revolution, a revolution of winning and a revolution of common sense. Common sense. Everywhere you look, broken systems, corrupt institutions, and tired dogmas are being swept away by the tide of history. Ancient wisdom is being rediscovered, and the best and strongest traits of America are coming back for all to see, bigger, better, and greater than ever. Coming back, and they're coming back fast. The spirit of our age is one of boldness, vigor, ambition, and adventure, and it's exciting to be you and young. Oh, I'd pay you a lot of money to have your age. You have a great future. The people have rejected the voices of a failed establishment. You saw that in the election. We've turned the page on endless wars, crippling debt, open borders, ruinous inflation, and the lack of respect for our country and for its leaders. But we're turning that all around, and we're turning it around very fast. We will very quickly make America great again.
There's a lot more great lines from that speech last night at University of Alabama with Donald J. Trump. I'll bring you some of those highlights. Plus, I have an update on what is going to happen to, I guess, former NSA advisor Mike Waltz. He's got a new gig already. We'll talk about it when we return. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 9:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The severe weather threat is a 3 out of 5 for today. Stefano DiPietro telling us that we're okay for this morning. It's later today that it's a different story.
High wind gusts will by far be the main threat with any thunderstorm. Heavier rainfall could cause ponding and poor visibility. The strongest storms could have hail in them. The tornado threat remains very low at this time.
Storms may linger into tomorrow morning as well. President Trump has been on a tear. He signed an executive order that essentially stops taxpayer funds from going to NPR and PBS. He also announced this morning that he'll revoke Harvard's tax-exempt status.
But he wasn't done there. President Trump closed a tariff loophole this morning that companies like Shein and Temu have been using to sell cheap goods into the U.S. tariff-free. Now, the exemption was designed to allow imports valued under $800 from China and Hong Kong to not be subject to tariffs or undergo rigorous customs checks. Those goods are now subject to the 145% tariff. A better than expected jobs report out this morning has boosted stock trading today, but we're learning that it wasn't just April. The numbers for the previous month were also revised.
Non-farm payroll surged ahead last month by 177,000, well ahead of analyst predictions and in line with job creation over the past year. The Bureau of Labor Statistics also reassessed and adjusted the figure for March, revising the 228,000 positions it initially reported downward to 185,000.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan there. Now, following that report, President Trump has once again called on Fed Chairman Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. Right now, the Dow Jones Industrials are trading up 447. The NASDAQ is up 223, and the S&P 500 index, that's up 67. That's the latest news. Weather is up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
36 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere, iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch us. We're live on Super Talk TV, which is on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. If you're watching us on any of those platforms, all the platforms have a share button. Please do that. Share the show with your friends. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all the things. We appreciate it when you do. And join the conversation. You can either jump into the YouTube chat or you can jump on the text lines or the phone line, 615-737-9986. Donald J. Trump last night, he was giving a speech to the graduates of University of Alabama.
In this arena will soon have the chance to help lead this project of national renewal. And that's what it is. It's a national renewal. We suffered so badly for 4 years. We had one of the greatest economies. We actually had the greatest economy in the history of our country during the first term of Trump. And then we got hit hard with inflation. During the Biden economy, it was horrible. We were hit so hard. The worst probably ever. They say 48 years. We'll accept that. But I would say ever. You'll embrace this moment and you'll step forward with strength and grit, faith and patriotism to put America on a new trajectory for your children. And then you'll take your place among the greatest generations in the history of our country. I think you have a chance to be the greatest generation in the history of our country because we're turning it around and you happen to be available. You're available.
You happen to be You happen to be here. You're ready to go. It's going to be you.
That's a good time to be available. There are some times when it's not so good to be available, but this is a great time. I'm absolutely confident that the Alabama class of 2025 is up to the task. Are you up to the task?
I don't think it's just the Alabama class of 2025. I think that a lot of these young graduates that have been the victims of COVID during high school and now they've made it all the way through college. I think that a lot of these young people in this country have had their eyes completely opened. They had everything taken away from them, everything. And then they were forced to be injected to go to some of these colleges, and they've had enough. They can't afford to move out of their parents' home. They can't afford to buy their own home. They can't afford to start a family. And this is all a product of the Democrat rule that we've been under for the last 4 years. I think a lot of these kids graduating this year are going to have a very different view of this country than graduates who have come before them. Just me, maybe I'm wrong, but just from what I've seen on college campuses across the country with my work with Turning Point USA and all the stuff that they're doing on campuses, I think that you're going to see the young people in this country absolutely save this country. And he said, listen, for the business majors that are here, maybe you should use your talents and your skills to do something great for America.
For the business majors here today, I challenge you not merely to use your talents for financial speculation, but to apply your great skills that you've learned and had to forging the steel and pouring the concrete of new American factories, plants, shipyards, and even cities which are going up all over our country. Don't just build a strong portfolio, build a very, very strong America, and you're going to do that.
I love that. Don't just build a strong portfolio, build a strong America. And then he has a message for the kids in the audience that don't think that they have what it takes. They don't think that they can make that difference. Maybe you're too young, and Trump says, no, you're not.
First, if you're here today and think that you're too young to do something great, let me tell you that you are wrong. You're not too young. You can have great success at a very young age. You're all very young. In America, with drive and ambition, young people can do anything. I was 28 when I took my first big gamble to develop a hotel in Midtown Manhattan, the Grand Hyatt, and it worked out incredibly well. But I was very young at the time. I was like a very young person in sort of an old person business. Steve Jobs was 21 when he founded Apple. Walt Disney was 21 when he founded Disney. James Madison, James Monroe, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson. They were no older than 25 when they began the journeys that etched their names into the history books for all time. So to everyone here today, don't waste your youth. Go out and fight right from the beginning, from the day you leave this incredible university. Go out and fight tough, fight fair, but go out and fight. You're going to be very successful, because now is the time to work harder than you have ever worked before. Push yourself further than you have ever pushed yourself before. Find your limits and then smash through everything. Go and smash through. You've watched that football team smash through. You're going to do the same thing.
I mean, I just love the message that he has for these young people, and clearly those in attendance like it as well. And he says, if you want to change the world, you got to be an outsider.
Number 6, if you want to change the world, you have to have the courage to be an outsider. In other words, you have to take certain risks and do things a little bit differently. Otherwise, if that weren't the case, everybody would be successful. It doesn't work that way. Progress never comes from those satisfied with the failures of a broken system. It comes from those who want to fix the broken system. And you'll make the bigger money, you'll make the more success by acting that way. The other way may be more secure, but if you want to go to the top, you're just never going to do it unless you break the system. Change is never easy, and the closer you get to success, the more ferociously those with a vested interest in the past will resist you. They want to resist. So I just say, trust me on that, because I know you really do. You have to break the system a little bit and follow your own instincts. But if your vision is right, nothing will hold you down.
I listened to this whole speech last night, and it's just the encouragement that comes from the president here for these young people can't be understated. And this is he would have the same message for any university, for any young person. And I've heard this message done similarly before, but there was one point that this one was something new, where he talks about don't let anybody tell you that you're a victim.
But in America, we reject that idea that anyone is born a victim. Our heroes are the ones who take charge of their own destiny, make their own luck, and determine their own fate despite the odds, despite all odds. That's what happens. They're given a little chance in many cases, very little chance of success, and they become the most successful people in the world. Whether you were born rich or poor, black or white, male or female in America, anyone can be a winner. And our whole country will be cheering you on, and I'll be at the front of the line cheering you on, especially because you come from this incredible university.
So the kids were definitely in for a treat last night with Donald J. Trump at the University of Alabama. You can understand why everybody likes this guy so much, but then you'll hear the mainstream media, they'll just wring their hand over poll numbers. Oh, he's got the worst poll numbers ever. Oh, ever since the last Trump presidency, we haven't seen this bad of poll numbers after the first 100 days. And I'm just like, okay, we're back to believing polls? Is that what we're doing? I don't buy it for a second. Chuck Schumer took an opportunity to bash Donald Trump on the poll numbers yesterday, which is hilarious considering Chuck Schumer's polls. Chuck, he was during a press conference, and he's bashing Donald Trump on his poll numbers. And then he was asked about his own bad poll numbers, and he said, well, guys, poll numbers, they come and go. It's just, it's poetry, honestly. Trump has the worst poll numbers ever. Don't worry about my poll numbers, because poll numbers, they come and go. This is why nobody likes you, Chuck.
Americans are noticing. The polls this week show Trump has the lowest 100-day approval rating since they started polling 80 years ago, the lowest. Even worse, 72% of Americans think it's likely that Trump's handling of the economy will walk us directly into a recession. People who hate what Trump is proposing. Yes.
There's a poll out today that has your approval ratings lower than any other congressional leader at 17%. Are you concerned that you may be a liability for your party?
Polls come and go. Our party is united. We're on our front foot. We're stepping forward and going after Trump and having real success.
It's so funny. Trump's poll numbers are the worst that they've ever been since they've been doing polling. Sir, you have the lowest approval rating of any congressional Democrat. Polls come and go. Polls come and go, guys. That's That's Chucky Schumer. Cutting off the reporter. Polls come and go. The Democrats are not very serious. And speaking of polls, did you see that even with Donald Trump having the lowest poll numbers in the first 100 days, ever since they started keeping this number, even with all that, CNN was stunned, downright shocked to find out that Trump is still polling higher than Kamala Harris.
Who would be doing a better job as president? Guess who comes out on top? Within the margin of error, but comes out on top. This looks a lot like the election result, right? Trump 45%, 2 points ahead of Harris at 43%. 12% say they'd be doing about the same. But this is the key nugget here. It's not just about regretting that vote. It's literally saying who would be doing the better job right now. And Trump continues to score a higher percentage of the vote than Kamala Harris. This looks a heck of a lot like the election result. We have just seen this in poll after poll after poll.
Stunned, shocked. I'm actually a little bit more curious about the 12% of people in this poll who said that Trump and Kamala would be doing the same job. Who are those people? You got 45% of Americans say Trump would be doing a better job as president. 43% of those polled said Kamala Harris would be doing a better job as president. I understand both of those entirely, right? Like, Democrats are going to say that Trump will always do a bad job. Republicans are obviously going to say there's no way Kamala Harris would do a better job than Trump. Easy, very easy to understand. 12% of those polling say that they would do the exact same job. I'm lost. I'm completely lost. I don't know anybody like that. Do you know anybody? I know rabid leftists, and I know hardcore conservatives. I don't know anyone that thinks that Kamala Harris would be doing the exact same job as Trump, or Trump would do the exact same thing as Kamala Harris. According to CNN, though, those people are out there. I don't know. I wonder how these polls are going to look after the jobs report numbers that we've had coming out today. The economy is not heading towards a recession, like Chuck Schumer said yesterday. There's no chance of that happening, and I think that you just need to remove that from your mind. But I wonder. Yesterday we had a big vote on tariffs, and J.D. Vance cast the tiebreaker vote to thwart the anti-tariff move, which was supported by 3 Republicans, mind you. But to all the people today, when you're seeing these jobs numbers come in, can we get back to trusting Trump? Can we do that? Can we get back to trusting Trump's people? I think that they're making the right moves. Vice President J.D. Vance had to cast that tie-breaking vote to stop efforts to stop Donald Trump's tariffs after 3 Republicans opted to side with Democrats. So Vance stepped in. Breitbart has a story. Vance stepped in as the Senate voted on a resolution that would have blocked Trump's tariffs via revocation of the emergency order used. Despite having the majority in the Senate, Vance had to intervene for the Republicans to block the resolution, as 3 Republicans joined Democrats in favor of the measure. Lisa Murkowski out of Alaska, Susan Collins out of Maine, and Rand Paul out of Kentucky. I get the first 2. A little bit stunned about Rand Paul. Republican Mitch McConnell and Democrat Sheldon Whitehouse, while expected to support the resolution, were absent, resulting in the resolution's 49-49 failure and Vance tie-breaking the vote. A spokesperson for McConnell made it clear the 83-year-old senator would have voted alongside the Democrats, but he couldn't make it. McConnell's far too old to be in this position. He just retired now. I know he's not going to be seeking re-election, and I know there's rumors that Scott Jennings could be the guy out for the new job. I think that would be a huge improvement. We got a lot more to cover here on the Chris Hand Show. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. Donald Trump is going to defund NPR and PBS, and I'll bring you some examples of the type of news that we won't be subject to when we get back. It's 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
No sign of the car that hit an elderly man and sped off. That man has since died. Also, we'll take a look at our stormy weather headed our way. Those stories coming up here at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. So what time is the rain going to start? Does anybody know?
From what I heard, listening to our newscast, it's starting around 3 to 5.
Stefan was saying after 12, like anytime after 12 today. Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll be this afternoon through this evening and then into tomorrow.
Well, during the break, I got a message from the producer of Turning Point Tonight, which is a show on Real America's Voice.
Yeah.
And they said, "You want to come on tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So we do the filming at 2:00 local time.
Yeah.
So I usually kick the kids outside.
Oh, right.
So I have to figure out if we're going to need raincoats and umbrellas.
Right. It'd be terrible to stick them outside in the storms, thunderstorms, rain, hail.
Stomping around in
but we
puddles
just
with
say
helmets
don't stand near trees, right? Isn't that that's what you don't want to do?
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
It attracts the lightning, I think.
Stay away from trees and open fields. Right? Isn't that what you want to do? It's very
So you're not the
confusing.
tallest thing in the open field there.
You don't want to be near the tallest thing, and you don't want to be the tallest thing.
Yeah. As long as they're wearing helmets for the hail, I think they're fine.
Helmets, got it.
Yeah.
We'll make sure they're wearing helmets.
Do you put your wife outside too?
Yes. Somebody's got to wrangle the kids.
Uh-huh.
No, she's the best. She's like, okay, I'll make sure that the kids are out of there. Thank you. I appreciate it. So that's going to be tonight, Real America's Voice. If you get it, it's also going to be free on YouTube and X and all that. They post the show. So I'll be on the panel tonight on Turning Point Tonight on Real America's Voice with my friend Joe Bob. Looking forward to that. All right, so the jobs report numbers came out. The United States did way better than anybody expected. Mike in Nashville wants to talk about that jobs report. What's up, Mike?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Chris. I think Donald Trump is doing the right, good thing. Like you said before, the news people, man, I've never seen nothing like this, Chris. It's like these people like Chuck Schumer and the TV, it's like they pulling for Donald Trump to fail. It seems like they get mad when they hear something good. I've never seen people that hate their country. It's not they hate their country, they hate Donald Trump. They hate Donald Trump so much that they would rather see the country fail than for him to do good. And that's really a damn shame, Chris.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the crazy thing is, like, all the stuff he's doing, it's not like these jobs numbers are only going to support conservatives, right? It's not like it's only going to benefit Republicans. These are benefiting all Americans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't understand about these guys is that they hate Donald Trump so much that they would rather see the country go up in flames than to see Donald Trump have any success. You know, like I said, that's the reason why I tell Chris, don't watch CNN television, don't watch MSNBC. If you want the truth, ABC News, none of those people. Go to people like Newsmax or people like Fox News that give you the real true deal. That are the real deal, because they're going to give you the real truth about Donald Trump. They're not going to give you this fake news that MS with Rachel Maddow. This woman here hates Donald Trump. The morning crew on MSNBC, they hate Donald Trump, and they're never going to say nothing good about Donald Trump. He could put 1 million people. He could put 1 million people to work, Chris, and they would say that Donald Trump that people got with people out of work. So it's just despicable that people hate their own country so much. And the only thing I got to say to those people, Chris, is why don't you leave and go find somewhere else to live? And I thank you for taking my call.
Hey, I appreciate you, Mike, as always. Love Mike. Yeah, he's right, though. No matter what, there's going to be negative coverage on Trump. And you see it overwhelmingly, 80% negative coverage, 90% negative coverage. NPR and PBS, they had something like 80% negative coverage when it came to Trump this past campaign. Trump has had enough of that. He says he's going to be defunding them, and he's actually signed an executive order ending the taxpayer subsidization of NPR and PBS. We'll break it all down when we get back. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 10:01. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Police in Laverne are still searching for whoever hit and killed a man walking along Old Nashville Highway yesterday morning and then drove off. That elderly man later died. This neighbor says she won't even let her kids play in the front yard anymore.
They're treating this street like a racetrack, like Speedway.
She says the man who was killed walked every day against traffic along that stretch of roadway that has no sidewalk. More on that accident that closed down the outbound lanes of I-24 in Cheatham County early this morning. Tennessee Highway Patrol say that one person died in that 5-car pileup. The cleanup and investigation had that roadway closed from about 2:30 this morning. It reopened in the 8 o'clock hour. In South Carolina, hit and run is now being investigated as being intentional. Justin Adams is being charged with attempted murder for driving his car into a group of people outside of a church preschool. 2 children and an adult were hurt. All are expected to be okay. The new jobs report showing American employers added a surprising 177,000 jobs in April. That was better than expected. The unemployment rate is holding steady at 4.2%.
This is the first report that covers at least a period of time when Trump announced his tariffs on April 2nd. And it shows a solid job market. It shows that we had momentum going into what could be a very difficult period. I think the question now is, can that momentum get us through to the other side?
That's ABC News business reporter Alexis Christoforous. And all eyes on number 15 horse at the Kentucky Derby on Sunday. That's Render Judgment, the horse owned jointly by Toby Keith and his longtime friend Tommy Gandolfo.
That is the greatest thing that ever happened. These people spend hundreds of millions of dollars to try to get to the Derby. And here he is. He's one of 20 people that have made it to the Derby.
He was speaking to Fox 56 out of Lexington. Gandolfo said that he and Toby owned several horses together over the years. Render Judgment was a late entry after another horse suffered a leg injury. A lot of folks cheering the number 15 horse on tomorrow. The Dow Jones Industrials right now are up 433. We've got the NASDAQ trading up 232 and the S&P gaining 69 points at this point. That's the latest news. Weather is up next. And by the way, the National Weather Service just issued a severe thunderstorm watch for Murfreesboro and Green Hills. So those storms are certainly headed our way. Stefano is next with the weather. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
would you be interested in defunding and taking away taxpayer dollars to NPR and PBS?
Well, I would love to do that. I think it's very unfair. It's been very biased, the whole group. I mean, the whole group of them. And frankly, there's plenty. Look at all the media you have right now. There's plenty of coverage. I was from a different age, and they spend more money than any other network of its type ever conceived. So the kind of money that's being wasted, and it's a very biased view, you know that better than anybody. And I'd be honored to see it end.
That was Donald Trump just a few weeks back when asked about defunding NPR and PBS. And he said, well, I'd be honored. I'd be honored to do it, actually. Very biased. A load of crap, if you will, is what you get from there. That's the technical term. And I don't throw too many technical terms at you, but load of crap is what we call it in the industry. That's what we tend to call NPR and PBS. And on Thursday, well, DJT signed an executive order that would direct the end of federal funding for NPR and the public broadcasting service PBS. The order cites concerns over journalistic bias and calls for public funding of these organizations outdated and incompatible with principles of neutrality in news reporting. The order instructs the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, CPB, which allocates federal funds to NPR and PBS, to halt both direct and indirect financial support. According to the order, this policy shift stems from the belief that the public broadcasting no longer serves its intended purpose in a media landscape that has become diverse and saturated with alternative news sources. And then the White House put out a statement accompanying the order, and they said, unlike in 1967 when CPB was established, today the media landscape is filled with abundant, diverse, and innovative news options, making government funding of news media outdated, unnecessary, and corrosive to journalistic independence. The administration argues that NPR and PBS have drifted so far away from the nonpartisan mission that was outlined in the founding of CPB that they're now biased outlets that prop up a leftist agenda. Yep. Nailed it. Neither of these stations, the NPR nor PBS, I have much faith in surviving if they have to go the private route. I just don't. I don't. We've talked about this a lot, you know, especially with NPR. Name a personality on NPR. Yep. That's the list. That's the whole list of people we can name on NPR. That's it. It's very short. Very short. Leftist radio in general, there's no market for it. None. They can't make it on their own. They need to be subsidized by the U.S. government. That's not going to happen anymore. The order argues that government funding of news media in this environment is not only outdated and unnecessary, but corrosive to the appearance of journalistic independence. Under the order, the CPB board is directed to cancel existing and future funding to NPR and PBS wherever legally possible. Additionally, all executive agencies must identify and terminate any direct or indirect support of those entities. Trump's order also tasked the Department of Health and Human Services with reviewing whether NPR and PBS are complying with federal anti-discrimination laws, taking corrective action where necessary. Funding rules for 2024 and 2025 grants must be amended to prevent any direct or indirect financial flow to NPR and PBS through local stations or partner organizations. The order cites that CPB's governing statute, which prohibits support for any political party, arguing that NPR and PBS violate the spirit, if not the letter, of this law through partisan bias. And then they go down the line and they talk about all the negative influences that they've had when it comes to conservatives and all of the positive coverage that they've had when it comes to leftists. They talk about during the 2024 Republican National Convention, PBS had 72% negative coverage. During the Democrat National Convention, they had 88% positive coverage. This is not nonpartisan. This is demonstrably weighed. You see the thumb on the scale every single time. The statement also noted that over a 6-month period, PBS NewsHour reportedly used the term far right 162 times, but far left only 6 times. And then the White House put out a thread that highlighted all these ridiculous examples of PBS and NPR in their reporting. Did you know that NPR ran a story titled Cannibalism? It's perfectly natural. Yes. with your taxpayer dollars. They ran a story on NPR titled Cannibalism, It's Perfectly Natural. This is an excerpt from that article. In the book, you described getting invited over for dinner by one of your sources to eat her placenta. How was that? Was it good? Yes, it was really the prep that made it taste good. Granted, the husband was a chef, so he knew how to prepare it oh-so-bucko style and use a really nice wine I had brought. It smelled great. It didn't taste bad. I wouldn't do it again, but I don't have any regrets I did this. This is taxpayer funded, by the way. Just eating placentas. It's okay. People do that, people argue the health benefits from it, but something I would not partake in. Would you partake in?
Absolutely not.
A placenta buffet?
No.
Even if it was prepared very well by a chef?
Well, you just said the husband was a good cook. I don't know if he was a chef.
Well, that's what they say.
It's NPR.
In 2021, NPR declared the Declaration of Independence to be a document with flaws and deeply ingrained hypocrisies. It's very bipartisan. And I quote, "The Declaration is a document with flaws and deeply ingrained hypocrisies. It also laid the foundation for our collective aspirations, our hopes for what America could be. So in that spirit, here again is the Declaration of Independence as read by NPR staff." In 2022, NPR scrapped its decades-long Independence Day tradition of reading the Declaration of Independence on air to instead discuss equality. So that's nice. NPR also subsequently issued an editor's note warning that the Declaration of Independence is a document that contains offensive language. Yep. NPR once also apologized for calling illegal immigrants illegal. And NPR also sounded the alarm about young men who abstain from masturbating to pornography. They really did this. They said they had a headline. It said, "Masturbation abstinence is popular online. Doctors and therapists are worried." This is where your taxpayer-funded dollars are going at NPR. NPR also featured a Valentine's Day article in 2024. You might have missed this one. I missed it, and I'm kind of grateful I did, where they had a Valentine's Day story, and it was all focused around queer animals. It's not a South Park episode. This isn't about Stan's dog. This is NPR. This is taxpayer-funded articles. In this article about queer animals for Valentine's Day, because what says Valentine's Day more than queer animals? They suggested the make-believe clownfish in Finding Nemo would have been better off as a female. And they also said that banana slugs are hermaphrodites. And they also said that some deer are non-binary. So that's NPR. But what about PBS? PBS devoted a whole panel to what it means to be woke and white privilege in 2017. Yep. In 2021, a PBS station aired a children's program that featured a drag queen named Little Hot Mess. Yep, that's PBS. That's PBS. Not much better. Not much better. Hold on. Let me. This is for the stream. There's a picture of Little Hot Mess that was featured in a children's show on PBS. In case you were wondering where your taxpayer dollars are going.
Oh, I thought it was going to be another Sesame Street character.
No. I think we've done the Sesame Street stuff to death.
Oh, 100%.
Where Elmo's wishing Happy Pride Day, or Elmo's talking about how necessary it is to get vaccinated, or, Arthur's talking about how evil cops are. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That's where your taxpayer dollars go, though. This is fine. This is fine. Donald Trump is putting an end to all of this. By the grace of God, Donald Trump said, enough is enough. The administration is not taking kindly to PBS and NPR, and that executive order is going to shut them down. NPR once educated the nation on the whole community of genderqueer dinosaur enthusiasts and the always popular Triceratops. Did you know about the Triceratops? Did you know?
No.
Well, Here's a snippet from the article for the community of genderqueer dinosaur enthusiasts from NPR. Taxpayer funded, by the way. Many people who are queer, whether they are trans or some other form of genderqueer or whatever it is, we love dinosaurs. Before I get to the answer, was there an issue that, like, if you were, what do they say, a member of the genderqueer community, that you weren't allowed to love dinosaurs? Was the cisgender dinosaur community being a little bit hard on you? So was there a reason for this whatsoever? No? Okay. Many people who are queer, whether they are trans or some other form of genderqueer or whatever it is, we love dinosaurs. The answer. Along with being a dinosaur expert, Riley herself is transgender. And according to Riley, there's a whole community of genderqueer dinosaur enthusiasts online. We had no idea. So we checked it out. Sure enough, they're online. We found dozens of paleo artists online that identify as queer. Stunning and brave, you may be thinking. Stunning and brave. I think that too. It's just, the dinosaur community is full of bigots. And thank you, NPR, for using taxpayer dollars to attack this head on. Type dinosaur into the LGBT subreddit. Hundreds of results with pride dinos, rainbow dinos, dinos moms, dino dads, and a lot of puns. Yep, a lot of puns. It's pretty gay. I'm not gonna lie to you. The genderqueer dinosaur community, they know how to do puns. A PBS White House correspondent once characterized Trump's patriotic 2020 Mount Rushmore speech as a love letter to white resentment that promoted the myth of America. I'm not going to miss taxpayer funds going to this PBS reporter.
And to fly in the face of the experts and his own health officials, environmental experts, as well as people who are saying that there's really a myth of America, that this idea that America treated people well, that they treated men and women equally, that we founded this country just by our own wits, that is actually a lie, and that in fact what we're seeing is a celebration of America's independence on land that was stolen from Native Americans, and it's being seen and overlooked by two presidents, their figures rather, that owned slaves, and a third president in Roosevelt who talked about going westward and who oversaw the desecration of Native lands. That's why you saw so many people in this country, especially people of color, look really, really disturbed when the president and then candidate Trump started saying "Make America Great Again." He's really fitting in this history that is in some ways Republican history about the idea that they're really looking at white resentment and giving people who are worried about the future of America, but who are also angry at the idea of America browning, and giving them a place to say, you know what, you are the victim. This country owes you more, instead of looking toward the future and saying, actually, let's have an America where we're not believing in this myth. Let's have an America where people do understand the history of America. President Trump is saying, I want to be on the side of the myth of America.
Yeah, I want to be on the side of the myth of America, and you gotta take note of that white resentment and the myth of America that you're promoting by doing a speech in front of Mount Rushmore. You stupid bigot. That's PBS for you. That's PBS. That's NPR. Donald J. Trump says, yeah, we're not going to send your taxpayer dollars there anymore. In a new executive order, NPR and PBS have fueled partnership in left-wing propaganda with taxpayer dollars, which is highly inappropriate and an improper use of taxpayers' money. Thank you to this administration for once again making common sense great again. It's 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
So when will the skies open up today, and for how long? Stefano has the answers for us. And will you go and see it? The controversial movie that lands in theaters today. That and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Now that I know it's controversial, I'm very interested. It's 10:25 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Support our sponsors because they support us. Great guys over there at Better Water. Love them. You can watch the show. We're live on Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it when you do. So yesterday we had the big news. Mike Waltz was out as National Security Advisor. And then the speculation started running rampant. Oh, he's fired over Signalgate. That's what the left is running with. Oh, this is the fallout from Signalgate. And then we heard other narratives coming in, like, no. He just wasn't running the office very well. And in fact, some of the thought leaders on the right were saying, listen, Signalgate actually saved Mike Waltz's job as National Security Advisor. Said it saved his gig because Trump didn't want to give in to the leftist activist reporting from The Atlantic and the hand-wringing that resulted from Jeffrey Goldberg being added to that chat. So we're like, okay, it could be either. Who knows? Who knows, right? Then later on in the afternoon, Donald Trump throws up a Truth Social post saying, hey, the guy we just fired, we're actually rehiring, and he's going to be the ambassador to the United Nations. And I was like, what? What? I thought we just got rid of this guy because nobody liked him, or because he was incompetent in Signalgate, or what's going on? Trump posted on Truth Social, I'm pleased to announce that I will be nominating Mike Waltz to be the next United States ambassador to the United Nations. Trump said of the former congressman who left his position to become National Security Advisor, from his time in uniform on the battlefield and in Congress and as my National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz has worked hard to put our nation's interests first. I know he will do the same in his new role. In the interim, Secretary of State Marco Rubio will serve as National Security Advisor while continuing his strong leadership in the State Department. Together, we will continue to fight tirelessly to make America and the world safe again. Thank you for this attention to this matter. The removal of Waltz, as well as his deputy, Alex Wong, came after Waltz took responsibility for the accidental addition of Jeffrey Goldberg to that Signalgate chat. This report is from the Post Millennial. They say Trump had previously nominated Elise Stefanik to be the U.S. UN ambassador, but they rescinded that nomination, if you remember, because they were worried what might happen with her congressional seat. Because apparently their inner polling numbers, they didn't like it. They pulled her back. They wanted to keep her where she was. There's a lot of talk about who do you replace as National Security Advisor. You don't want to pull from Congress. The majority, the majority is too slim. So where do you go? A lot of people pointing to Steve Witkoff, but I mean, whirlwind of events. J.D. Vance was doing an interview on Fox News, and he was asked about Trump tapping Waltz as UN ambassador and nominating him to the position.
Why was Mike Waltz let go?
So it wasn't let go. He is being made ambassador to the United Nations, which, of course, is a Senate-confirmed position. I think you can make a good argument that it's a promotion. But we brought Mike on to do some serious reforms of the National Security Council. He has done that. I like Mike. I think he's a great guy. He's got the trust of both me and the president. But we also thought that he'd make a better UN ambassador as we get beyond this stage of the reforms that we've made to the National Security Council. You saw the president announce that Marco Rubio is going to step in as interim leader of the National Security Council. So I think the media wants to frame this as a firing. Donald Trump has fired a lot of people. He doesn't give them Senate-confirmed appointments afterwards. What he thinks is that Mike Waltz is going to better serve the administration, most importantly, the American people in that role, and I happen to agree with him.
Donald Trump has fired a lot of people, and what he doesn't do is give them Senate confirmation appointments afterwards. Okay, all right, listen, that sounds about right, I guess. Very confusing. Very, very confusing. I'm not exactly sure where the truth lies with Mike Waltz, but he's going to be the next UN ambassador, should he be confirmed. During that same interview on Fox with J.D. Vance, they started asking him about the other guy that the media has been after inside the Trump administration, and the guy that I think that they've been after harder than anybody else, one Pete Hegseth. And J.D. Vance, well, he stuck up for Pete as best you could.
On Pete in particular, I think the thing that is most underappreciated about Pete Hegseth and the great job that he's doing is we came in with the military with a serious morale problem. Recruitment and retention goals in most of the major services were way off. Pete has brought a certain esprit de corps. I think the leadership style has inspired a lot of people to join the military. We're now exceeding our recruitment goals. So yes, we've got total faith in Pete.
Yes, we have total faith in Pete. You look at those recruitment numbers, it's hard not to see why. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
10:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, we know what to expect. Some thunderstorms later today, but the question is when.
Between noon and 8 o'clock this evening, we do have that more elevated risk. It's a 3 out of 5 for most of the area.
Stefano DiPietro there. He says there will be wind, downpours, and maybe some hail, but the chance of tornadoes is low. A former Murray County Sheriff's Office patrol sergeant was arrested on charges of driving under the influence. Former Patrol Sergeant Randy Marisette is accused of leading police on a chase through a Columbia neighborhood in April before finally pulling over. He was also charged with evading arrest. A British court denying Prince Harry's appeal in a legal battle to fully reinstate his UK security. The appeals court ruling he was not improperly denied a security detail after he stepped down from his royal duties. Now, Prince Harry will likely have to pay the government's legal fees in addition to his own attorneys.
There was a 3-panel of judges presiding, but one of those judges essentially reading out the statement, saying that he had looked at all the evidence, that he found the arguments by Prince Harry powerful and moving. But in the end, he said he concluded that he couldn't say that the sense of grievance felt by Prince Harry translated into a legal argument for a challenge to that original decision.
ABC's Ian Pannell. A controversial movie will hit movie theaters today.
Western Rust opens today, but there was no red carpet premiere for the movie starring Alec Baldwin.
Arlen Rust. Heaven ain't waiting on neither one of us.
In 2021, cinematographer Helena Hutchins was killed on the set by a bullet fired by Baldwin. Her family wanted the movie completed, according to the writer and director, who also says, quote, "I wish I never wrote the damn movie."
ABC's Andrew Dimbird reporting. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand from my friends at United Structural Systems. You know them as USS, and we got rain rolling in. Have you been ignoring the waterproofing issues that you have going on at your home? I mean, it's easy to ignore the warning signs, right? Oh, it's just a little water in the basement. It's some damp walls after the rain. And then you're hoping it'll go away, and sure enough, yeah, it'll dry a little bit, but when the rain comes back, so does the issue. And here's the truth. Those small problems, they never stay small. The good news, though, USS wants to come to your home and give you that peace of mind. And they've done it for over 30,000 homeowners in the Middle Tennessee and Kentucky area. They're not going to show up with sales pressure. They're not going to show up worried about a quota. They're going to show up worried about creating a custom solution to fix the problems at your home. Whether it's foundation repair or waterproofing, USS is going to do the job, and they're going to stand behind the work that they do. And they'll leave you a warranty, a guarantee, a lifetime warranty. And even if you leave the home, the warranty can stay. That's how confident they are in their work. These guys have been in the game for 30 years. That's why they're the best. If you see the signs, don't wait. Call USS today. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems, keeping homes dry and stable. USSTN.com. "36 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Mason Fleming producing. Ken Weaver's back there in the newsroom. You guys on the phone lines and the text line, 615-737-9986. And I see you guys over there in the YouTube chat. Shout out to the YouTube chat. Every day that YouTube chat is rocking. If you're watching us over on YouTube, make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, do all the things. We appreciate it when you do so. Helps me feed the kids. So you wouldn't want the kids to go hungry, would you? No, you're so much nicer than that. So hit like and subscribe. The kids are hungry. So we don't have enough likes. I said, Dad, we can't eat likes. I said, we can eat subscribes.
Really?
We can.
I didn't know that.
You can.
Hearty meals.
It's good. It's good for you. 0 calories.
You can dip them in peanut butter.
You can. So head over to the YouTube channel, hit like, hit subscribe. Ken Weaver will provide the peanut butter.
No way, dude. I'm not sharing it.
All right.
Yeah, he just does the news.
Listen, one of the craziest things that I saw last night while doing the show prep was Jesse Waters. I don't know, man. He's really growing into his own, and he's growing on me. His show last night, Jesse Waters, was an absolute banger. He had unreleased body cam footage from the Tennessee Highway Patrol stop of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and then he had a fantastic interview with the Doge guys and Elon Musk, which will bring you some audio from that in a little bit. But I want to start with this audio and video that he had from the Tennessee Highway Patrol stop of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. If you're watching online, you'll be able to see this as well. If you're over on the YouTube channel, that's the benefit of watching a radio show. We're providing video when you hear the audio on your radio. So they got this video. They put it on Jesse Waters last night. This is what it sounded like.
Because every day another shoe drops on the Maryland dad. He was a suspect in a human trafficking operation dating back 3 years. And Fox Digital just got their hands on the body cam. But you're seeing it here first. Tennessee Highway Patrol stopped Kilmar for speeding and noticed he had 8 other people in the car. All no luggage. Take a look.
So 8 other people in the car, and they actually had a makeshift, like, 4th row in the back of the car to fit the other 8 grown men in what looks like a van. A very, very messy, just gross van.
Hello, sir. How are you? Good, and you? All right. Everything good? You got a bunch of people in here, don't you? It's 1 for shit. Yes.
Yeah, they said they're going to work. I know it's really hard for you to understand what he's saying with that thick Maryland accent, but he said we're going to work. We're going to Maryland for work. The Maryland accent is tough. It's I don't know. I don't know many people that have that Maryland accent, but this guy does. You can hear it.
Go back to work. Gotcha. Where are you working at? Where? San Luis, Missouri.
Yep. San Luis, Missouri. That's that Maryland accent.
Missouri? Yes, sir. Gotcha. Okay. But I'm from Maryland. Where do y'all live at? Where are you living? I live in Maryland. Maryland? Yeah, also here. Whose vehicle is it? What, whose car is it? It's to my boss. Your boss? My boss, yeah. Where's he live? Where's your boss live? My boss right now is staying in Maryland, but he lives in Texas. Okay. In Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas, which, if you've been paying attention to this kind of stuff, hotbed for human smuggling, hotbed for human trafficking. Houston is not exactly a place where you would want to stay.
After talking to Kilmar, the officers had no doubt he was trafficking.
This is when the Tennessee Highway Patrol officer starts talking with the other Highway Patrol officer. He says, "You know what's going on in there, right?" And I think what you're seeing and what you're hearing is going to be a conversation between a guy with a lot of experience at the Tennessee Highway Patrol and a guy that relatively newer. And this is just based on the conversation that I hear between them, because you're going to hear one officer say, "You know what you have back there, right?" And then kind of a pause, and then the other cop say, No. He goes, "You got an ass hauler." This is what the police officer says. You have an ass hauler. They're hauling humans for money. Listen to this.
You know what you got here, right? No. He's hauling these people for money. You got an ass hauler is what he's doing, but.
You got an ass hauler. Better call Biden's FBI and see if we should cut him loose, right? Yep. Listen, I don't want to be overly hard on the Tennessee Highway Patrol here. I have no idea what happened in the moments that they were on the phone with the Biden FBI. Nobody does. The body cam footage conveniently didn't record any of that. So we're left to kind of, fill in the blanks ourselves. But what we do know is that the Biden FBI said you got to cut them loose because, well, they were cut loose.
You know what you got here, right? No. He's hauling these people for money. You got an ass hauler is what he's doing, but sometimes they commingle dope. No, but there's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. There's 8 people in there. They put an extra row of seats in there. He's hauling these people for money. Let's call Biden's FBI and cut him loose. It's really disappointing. I mean, we're supposed to be this big bad conservative state, Tennessee, right? Like that's the meme. Oh, we don't let this liberal stuff fly, yet we cut loose human traffickers at the behest of the Biden FBI.
So he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say, if I had my guess.
He said they all work together. That's what he's telling me, but he's the only one that knows English.
So let me ask you this. They don't have any luggage in there, right? And if you get them out, they're going to have a tube of toothpaste, and they're going to have toothbrushes in their pockets, I guarantee it.
He's got $1,400 cash in his pocket in an envelope.
Crazy. Again, you could tell between the conversation between the officers. One of these guys very experienced in what he's seeing. The other guy seems relatively new. And he says, listen, they're going to, I'll tell you what, you're gonna pull them out of that car. They're going to have toothbrushes and toothpaste in their pocket, every one of them. No luggage, just a toothbrush and toothpaste.
So in the video, you can see one of the cops making a phone call. The body cam audio cuts out for 10 minutes. Sources told us that on that call was Joe Biden's FBI, which advised police not to detain Kilmar at the time. That source also tells us Highway Patrol called Biden's ICE, and they never showed up. Biden's guys said an MS-13 gangster, suspected human smuggler and wife beater, released into the country. God knows what he did and was never caught for before Trump deported him. Primetime will keep digging and keep you posted when we find more.
Yeah, and listen, shout out to those guys over at Fox for getting their hands on the body cam footage. It is mind-blowing. But you're seeing, with all of this new evidence that's coming out about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, we have this. Then there's also audio now circulating of his wife describing the domestic violence assaults that she had to deal with, being woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning and slapped, being beaten before her daughter's birthday party. So all of this evidence keeps coming out, and you're seeing the media slowly start backing away from it. Axios yesterday, they're doing their best to back away from it. They posted this headline, and if you're watching on the stream, you'll see it. They posted this tweet. It says, new White House sources and court documents reviewed by Axios reveal allegations that Kilmar Abrego Garcia abused his wife on several occasions. The information is strengthening the Trump administration resolve to prevent Garcia's return to the U.S. Everybody understands what time it is. They understand, except for one guy, Senator Chris Van Hollen. Senator Van Hollen is he's calling for tourism boycotts of El Salvador now because of the unjust treatment of that Maryland man. And you know he's from Maryland. You could tell by the accent. That Maryland man was treated unfairly, and if he's not released by El Salvador, Senator Van Hollen doesn't want anyone to visit there, and he wants boycotts on El Salvador.
In addition to this resolution, I've called upon all Americans who care about their due process rights to vote with their feet. Don't go to El Salvador as tourists, so long as the government of El Salvador is violating the constitutional rights of people who reside in America. There are lots of other nice countries in the region, like Costa Rica or Guatemala or others. And finally, stay tuned, because Senator Kaine and I, along with Senator Schumer and others, are planning to also introduce sanctions legislation.
I'm sure that legislation will be as popular as you are, Senator Van Hollen, and Senator Schumer is, and Senator Kaine. The three most popular members of the Senate, clearly. Yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting. The media and these leftists and these politicians are always so quickly to defend and tell you the heartbreaking story of how Kilmar is being treated, but they never share the stories of what's happening to the families in the wake of this illegal alien invasion in our country. The White House put out a video yesterday, which is, it's heartbreaking and touching at the exact same time. They put out this video of angel parents on the north lawn of the White House, where they have put up all those signs highlighting the individuals that they've deported and the crimes that they've deported them for. But they put out this video, it's about a minute and a half, highlighting the pain that has been experienced by the angel families who have known firsthand how disastrous this invasion has been on the American people.
My name's Angie Morphine Vargas, and I'm mother to Ruben Morphine. He was executed in the streets of Salinas in 1990. 34 years later, I could still cry for him like if it was yesterday.
My name is Maria Herrera Vega, and I'm the mother of Marine and Border Patrol agent Javier Vega Jr. Our son, who went by Harvey, was murdered August the 3rd, 2014.
My name is Chris Odette. I'm an angel father. My daughter, Krisha, was killed September 12th, 2014 by an illegal alien in Rockwall, Texas.
This is my son Ryan and his girlfriend, both poisoned to death by illicit fentanyl. I can't bring my son back, but we are doing all of this to save the future Americans from being poisoned to death by fentanyl.
My name is Agnes Gibney. This is my son Ronald Da Silva, who was murdered by a previously deported criminal illegal alien gang member.
My name is Angel Mom Miriam Mendoza. This is my son, Sergeant Brandon Mendoza of the Mesa, Arizona Police Department,
who was killed on May 12, 2014 by a repeat illegal criminal. Thank everybody in this administration for finally paying attention to criminals who harm Americans.
We thank the Trump administration from the bottom of our hearts.
Without them, there would be no justice for my daughter.
We're finally getting some justice in this country for our children.
This right here is what should be living here in America, not criminals that are coming in right now.
So they put out this video highlighting the pain caused by the illegal aliens breaking into this country, the crime that they've been committing, and the media won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. The media is not going to show you this. You're not going to see it on MSNBC or Fox or CNN or ABC or NBC. None of those. You just won't. But you see these signs behind the reporters as they're doing the news hits. That's why they put them on the North Lawn. And you're seeing outlets like CNN and MSNBC blur the signs because, you know, it's more important to protect illegal alien gang members, terrorists, and criminals than it is to protect American citizens. Stephen Miller was talking about how the media has been forced to cover this by Donald Trump. He was talking about this yesterday. And even Phil Mickelson, the famous golfer, Phil Mickelson, highlighted what Stephen Miller said at the press briefing, posted on Twitter what he said. Stephen Miller is an absolute beast.
Most of your papers never covered her story when it happened. To the extent that you covered it at all, it was because President Trump forced you to cover it by highlighting it repeatedly over and over again. He had to shame you into covering it. And each and every one of you that sides over and over again with these MS-13 terrorists, to the extent that you have the financial means to do so, you all choose to live in condos or homes or houses as far away from these kinds of gangbangers as you possibly can.
Bingo.
If I offered any one of you a rent-free home with no taxes to pay in any of these gang neighborhoods, and I said your neighbors are MS-13 terrorists or Mexican mafia or Sinaloa cartel or Tren de Aragua, I couldn't pay you to live there. But yet you, with your coverage, are trying to force innocent Americans to have these people as their neighbors, and that one day their daughter may be abducted from their home and raped and murdered. So you're not going to get an ounce of sympathy from this administration or President Trump for the terrorists who've invaded our homes and our country.
And for that, Stephen Miller, we thank you. It's 10:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
President Trump's budget, better than expected jobs report. China signals it's getting ready to talk about a tariff deal. We'll tell you about these stories and more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Wait, which country is ready for a tariff deal, Mason?
China.
Oh. Okay.
Remember when they said they hadn't been talking to anybody?
Which country wasn't talking to anybody?
China.
Oh. But that country is now talking?
China.
Yeah, they're talking to us?
Yeah, they say they're evaluating things.
Who's that again?
China.
Okay. Thank you. I feel like we have one more in rotation that we should just get out.
China.
There it is. Thank you. Thank you. Mason Fleming, everybody.
That's way to go, Brother Mason.
Happy to help.
615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. David in Nashville wants to talk about our Maryland man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. What's up, Dave? Yo, Dave, what's up? I sure hope Dave's okay.
Yeah.
Somebody check on Dave. Somebody.
I'll do it. I'll check on him.
Somebody check.
He was pretty
on
eager to talk earlier.
He seemed like he was ready to go, and I wanted everybody to hear the Maryland accent again of Kilmar. It's everybody knows that this is a Maryland accent. Oh, and then the computer freezes. Hold on. It'll get there. It'll get there eventually. My computer's channeling its inner Dave, I guess. It'll be there eventually. I promise. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Clearly, he's a Maryland man because you know that this is a Maryland accent.
Go back to work.
Gotcha. Where are you working at?
Where?
Where?
San Luis, Missouri.
Missouri?
Yes, sir.
It's a thick Maryland accent. Thick.
Yes, sir.
Listen, you tell me that's not a Maryland accent. That's a Maryland accent. The Trump administration are doing what they can do to get these illegal aliens out of here. Yet at the same time, it seems like the Democrats and the media are covering for them nonstop. A reporter asked Tom Homan yesterday, why not just arrest the leaders who are harboring and shielding illegal aliens? This is after they were asking about an executive order on sanctuary cities. Tom Homan's answer as to why you don't just arrest the leaders harboring and shielding illegal aliens, terrorists, from deportation is pretty wild. And what's more wild is how you can slowly, as the question's being asked of Tom Homan, you can slowly see a smile start forming across his face. And if you're watching on Super Talk TV, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, watch this. Watch his smile slowly appear and then shine like a bright star in pitch black darkness. This is Tom Homan.
So the president signed an executive order just this week threatening to defund sanctuary cities for their policies. Why not just arrest the leaders who are harboring and shielding illegal aliens, actually terrorists, from deportation?
Wait to see what's coming.
Did you see the smile grow? The answer?
Oh, absolutely.
And the answer was, wait till you see what's coming.
Ooh. Ooh.
If I'm a Democrat activist judge or a Democrat activist politician, crap in my pants, right? Wouldn't you be?
Oh, absolutely.
Wouldn't you be crapping your pants?
Absolutely.
This is Tom one more time. And if you're watching on Super Talk TV, watch that smile and his answer, wait till you see what's coming.
So the president signed an executive order just this week threatening to defund sanctuary cities for their policies. Why not just arrest the leaders who are harboring and shielding illegal aliens, actually terrorists, from deportation?
Wait to see what's coming.
It's important to note the smile didn't start until the reporter got to the point. Why don't you just arrest the leaders harboring those illegal aliens?
Looks like a guy happy to share a little secret.
Oh my! He looks like he's got a secret. We'll see what happens. He's an excited Tom Homan is my favorite Tom Homan. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Looks like everybody in Middle Tennessee is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 5 o'clock today. We'll be keeping an eye on that for you. Get a few more details on what may be to come during the full forecast in 5 minutes. Money news. President Trump's budget calls for $163 billion in cuts. Some of the departments targeted include Education, Health and Human Services, USAID, and the Environmental Protection Agency. Trump proposing a 13% increase to defense spending, which would bring it to $1 trillion for the next fiscal year. The administration's also proposing $175 billion to go toward the southern border. Meanwhile, that April jobs report shows 177,000 created, with most of them in healthcare, transportation, and warehousing, financial activities, social assistance.
President Trump touted the April jobs numbers and continued to defend his tariff policy, writing on social media, quote, "We're only in a transition stage, just getting started." President Trump again called on the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates. He's recently criticized Fed Chair Jerome Powell and called for his termination. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
By the way, the April jobs report shows federal government employment declined. China seems to be backing down a bit on tariffs after claiming the Trump administration lied about ongoing talks between the two countries. All of a sudden today, the communist regime's Commerce Department put out a statement saying they're, quote, evaluating an offer from the U.S. to hold talks on tariffs, then warned it would not be forced into making a bad deal. More kids have died of the flu this season than in the past 15 years. That claim, according to the CDC, here's Sherry Preston.
The CDC says 216 children died of the flu this season, the highest number since the swine flu pandemic in 2009 and 10. The number could go even higher. Last year's flu season wasn't counted fully until autumn. Pediatricians say one big reason for fatalities is fewer kids are getting flu shots. Less than half of all children got vaccinated against the flu this season, down from 64% 5 years ago.
And on Monday, the Department of Education set to start collecting debts on defaulted student loans.
If you are in default on your federal student loan, meaning that you're 270 or more days late on your last payment due date, then you could start to face these consequences of debt collection.
That's Bankrate consumer lending analyst and certified student loan counselor Andrew Pentis. President Trump hit a nerve last night during his commencement speech at the University of Alabama.
I think I should have come here. Congratulations as well to the women's track and field team for winning 2 SEC titles this year. That's something. As long as I'm president, we will always protect women's sports. Men will not play in women's sports.
He calls it a 97-3 issue. Also, just out this morning, Emmy nominations. And we've learned that the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris, the one that CBS admitted to editing, and that President Trump says was edited to help her candidacy, that one, it's been nominated for an Emmy, the category, Outstanding Edited Interview. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
7 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up? It's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Love those guys. BetterWater.com for your water filtration systems. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. And you can watch the show. We are live. Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate it when you do. Another day, another activist judge doing something insane. This one comes out of, this story comes out of a courtroom in a Texas crash. You may have remembered this crash. A Texas driver, an illegal, a migrant, if you will, he killed 5 people while driving a truck. It was a highway crash, killed 5 people, including a young child and a baby. Well, a judge just took his $1.2 million bond and slashed it to $7,000. Yes. You kill 5 people, careening an 18-wheeler into traffic, and you get out on $7,000 bond, which, if you're familiar with this at all, you only have to put up 10% to get out. So that's 5 people dead, $700, and you're out on the street. Trucking industry publication FreightWaves reported the details of that horrific March 13th incident, which 37-year-old Salaman Weldikial Araya was initially charged with 5 counts of intoxication manslaughter and 2 counts of intoxication assault after the 18-wheeler he was driving on Interstate 35 crashed into 16 other vehicles. 5 victims were pronounced dead at the scene, including a couple and their 2 children, 11 others suffering injuries. Independent journalist Sarah Fields has identified the family, and while police originally believed that this driver was intoxicated after he allegedly failed a field sobriety test, subsequent testing revealed that the Dallas-based trucker had no drugs or alcohol in his system. However, he failed to slow for traffic in a temporary work zone for construction on the interstate, the National Transportation Safety Board said, and he crashed that truck, killed 5 people, and he's now out on $7,000 bond. This is insane. It's insane. The truck that initiated the crash was registered to a for-hire carrier, ZBN Transport, out of Dallas, Texas. NTSB investigator Kenny Bragg told reporters at a press conference, in the coming days, the team will continue to document this temporary work zone, conduct a detailed mechanical inspection of the striking truck, and collect further information from witnesses. We'll be looking into the truck driver's employment history as a commercial driver, his entire driving history, including crash history, traffic violations, as well as medical history for factors that may have influenced his driving. Democrat Judge Tamara Needles lowered the trucker's bond to $7,000 from over $1 million after his attorney filed a motion demanding his client's immediate release or a bond reduction to just $7, $1 per charge, according to CBS Austin. Prosecutors are now arguing that the intoxication charges stem from his alleged sleeplessness and possible antidepressants. Sarah Fields, she's an independent journalist. She goes by Sarah is Censored on X. She uncovered that the man also previously received a violation for going 63 in a 30 mile per hour zone. He's an asylum seeker working on a visa who can barely speak English. This is definitely one of the cases that influenced Donald Trump's executive order to make it, he closed that loophole. You have to speak English in order to be a truck driver. An affidavit obtained by Fox 7 states that Weldikial area spoke mostly Tigrinya, an East African language spoke in Ethiopia. A court docket revealed that he was due in court just 1 week from the pileup for that speeding violation. And Fields, the independent journalist who's been all over this case, noted that he had only had his license for 4 months when the crash took place. And then he's worked for shadowy trucking LLCs that are currently under investigation by the Department of Transportation. $7,000. You're out on bond after killing 5 people. These judges are insane. Insane. I got another one here. A Texas judge has ruled that Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act is unlawful. It exceeds the scope of the statute. Post Millennial has a story. A Texas-based federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from carrying out deportations under the Alien Enemies Act, which Trump invoked in March over the presence of Tren de Aragua gang members in the country. U.S. District Judge Fernando Rodriguez Jr. wrote in his Thursday ruling, the question that this lawsuit presents is whether the president can utilize a specific statute, the AEA, to detain and remove Venezuelan aliens who are members of TDA. As to that question, the historical record renders clear that president's invocation of AEA through proclamation exceeds the scope of the statute and is contrary to the plain, ordinary meaning of the statute's term. So, this judge saying you can't use the Alien Enemies Act. It's unlawful. This judge wants to keep these illegal aliens in the country. Illegal aliens who are guilty of heinous crimes. Over and over. Every day we see a new one of these. I saw one yesterday from Breitbart. Illegal aliens accused of kidnapping North Carolina woman, her 11-month-old baby, after demanding $1 million. 2 illegal aliens accused of breaking into a Garner, North Carolina woman's home, demanding money from her husband, then kidnapping her and her baby girl. Illegal aliens, Paulo Duran Duran, 25-year-old, and Miguel Angel Duran Duran, 23 years old, have been arrested by the Garner Police Department and charged with 2 counts of first-degree kidnapping, 1 count of second-degree kidnapping. According to police, the illegal alien siblings broke into the family's residence with firearms and demanded $1 million. When the woman's husband refused, they allegedly tied him up, kidnapped the woman and the couple's 11-month-old daughter. The woman with her daughter was able to escape and seek help from a nearby resident. A third suspect, Leo Estrada Hernandez, a Mexican national, remains on the run from law enforcement and is wanted by the FBI. So when you see these judges making these rulings that Donald Trump can't get these illegal alien criminals out of the country, just make note that these are the types of people and individuals that these judges are protecting. They're not making it safer for American citizens. No. Far from it. They're making this country a far more dangerous place, and they're protecting the illegal aliens every step of the way. Every step of the way. Illegal aliens are up here. American citizens are down here. Every single time. It's insane. The Trump administration wants to block funds for states that are giving illegal aliens driver's licenses. This came out yesterday. I had it yesterday. I didn't make my way to it. There's always way too much to talk about. We only have a 3-hour show. There's only so much we can get to. But during a White House cabinet meeting on Wednesday, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said that states and municipalities that issue driver's licenses to illegal aliens would risk their federal funding for future infrastructure projects. In case you missed it, this was Secretary Duffy making that statement in the cabinet meeting on Wednesday.
We have what is called follow the law. So we have so many states and municipalities that don't follow the law. So whether it's DEI, discriminating against Americans, whether they give illegals driver's license or their sanctuary cities or states, if you don't follow the law, if you're giving license to illegals, if you're having DEI policies, we're not going to fund your projects. So you got to certify in your state or in your city to get road and bridge money or rail money that you're actually following the law, which includes executive orders from you, Mr. President. We're cutting back funding. We send research money, Mr. President, to universities to do research on more equitable and sustainable transportation systems. Projects that'll use data and public opinion to inform policy and infrastructure and technology benefiting diverse communities, including women and gender nonconforming people. Just stupid wastes of money.
Yes, stupid waste of money is right. But on the driver's license front, per Fox News, 19 states and Washington, D.C. allow illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses through laws passed. States that allow this include New York, New Jersey, California, Washington. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy said in 2019, this is the same governor who said, I got an illegal alien living above my garage. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy said in 2019, after signing legislation allowing illegal aliens to obtain driver's licenses, that expanding access to driver's licenses is critical for the safety of New Jerseyans and a step toward building a stronger and fairer New Jersey for all. For all illegal aliens, sure. The Trump administration, they don't want to deal with that. And the Trump administration wants the Supreme Court to get involved in the fight over temporary protected status for Venezuelan migrants. It was, temporary. That was part of the thing. It was temporary. They were blocked by a federal judge in San Francisco from terminating that temporary protected status of some 350,000 Venezuelan migrants whose status would have expired last month. The Trump administration has taken their petition to the Supreme Court. On Thursday, the High Court was asked by the Department of Justice to put a hold on that California ruling and gave challengers until May 8th to respond. The California judge who put a pause on the order to terminate temporary protected status said that the administration's decision to end them was based on negative stereotypes. Feelings. Got it. Tulsi Gabbard says that the Biden administration let in 600 illegal aliens with known terrorist ties. Again, this is who these judges are protecting with all of these orders. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard reported that nearly 600 individuals with ties to terrorism were allowed to enter the United States under the Biden administration. The individuals were paroled into the U.S. by the Biden admin after they illegally entered the U.S. She said that her office identified 700 alien terrorists who have ties to MS-13, Tren de Aragua, and the Sinaloa cartel. President Trump designated these cartels and transnational criminal gangs as foreign terrorist organizations. And she said that the National Counterterrorism Center identified almost 600 individuals with ties to other terrorists who came through our borders illegally, claimed asylum, and under the Biden administration were paroled here within our borders. The mess that we have to clean up can't be understated. It's insane. It's just insane. RFK Jr., he's saying that the Biden administration's HHS was essentially a collaborator in human trafficking. He said this was during the cabinet meeting as well on Wednesday. Didn't have a chance to get to it, but it's a wild sound clip. He's talking about the way the HHS was run under Biden and how it essentially enabled human and child sexual trafficking.
We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, the 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration.
Yeah, we got to find those kids. Breitbart News, Warner Todd Houston reported in February that the Trump administration was investigating the lack of vetting for migrant children under the Biden administration. And they said that under the Biden administration, some 291,000 unaccompanied children were also brought into the U.S. The Trump administration fears that many of these kids have ended up in the hands of sexual predators and human traffickers. And if we've learned anything about human traffickers in the Biden administration and the Biden FBI, it's that even if they get pulled over on the highway and the cops know that they're human traffickers, they're going to be cut loose. It's disgusting. The mess that we need to clean up is massive. And Trump isn't just fighting the Democrats, he is fighting the judges as well. It's infuriating. And the media just says, oh, he's racist. He's a bigot. He's a tyrant. Yet all this man wants to do is make America safer for the American people. The leftists don't like that. It's 11:20 on Super Talk. 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It is now the time to get your cooling system tuned up. That summer heat is going to be here before we know it, and you want to make sure that your AC is running at maximum peak efficiency with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Otherwise, you're just waiting for your AC to break. And you don't want that to happen, especially when the heat hits. So be proactive and keep your system running smoothly all season long. Now, whether it's just the maintenance you need or if you need repair or a full system replacement, I always trust the guys over at Busy Bee. And you should join the Beehive Club today. Just $99 per unit. You get 3 tune-ups a year, 10% off all repairs, front-of-the-line service, no overtime or holiday fees, and $100 per year in replacement credit, up to $1,000. Right now, when you buy the Beehive membership, you'll get one of free or equal or lesser value. You'll get one free of equal or lesser value. You heard that right. It's buy one, get one free currently right now on Beehive Club memberships for satisfaction guaranteed. It's very, very simple. You just call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833. Online, busybeehvac.com.
Student loan payments coming due again, and the world's oldest woman has passed away. So I guess we have a new one. Details at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Fun fact, she'll still be able to get Social Security checks for another 30 years. Did you know that? It's crazy. It's amazing.
Brother Chris Ann with the fast one.
She's going to get Social Security checks, and she's going to be voting for all the Democrats. So congratulations. It's like, I heard this joke. Said, my grandfather voted Republican his entire life, but he's voting Democrat this year. It's a shame. It would have never happened if he was alive. All right, so RFK Jr. He's gonna make some heads spin. I know. It's kind of like, oh yeah, well that's just what he does. He's proposing new vaccine testing protocol. Oh, whoa! I thought, pump the brakes, guys. I thought vaccines were good for everybody and everything was tested and safe and nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. Stop being a conspiracy theorist. Wasn't that what we were told? That's what I thought that was the gist of it. Well, apparently not. Health and Human Services Secretary RFK has proposed changes to the vaccine testing, a shift that the agency said intends to increase transparency, providing the highest standards of safety and efficacy testing. The Post-Millennial has a story. They say the pending changes will require all new vaccines to undergo, wait for it, placebo testing. Oh. An experiment where people will receive the vaccine while others are giving a placebo. And then scientists will compare the results. You know, it's funny. You wonder why this hasn't been happening already. Weird. All new vaccines will undergo safety testing in placebo-controlled trials prior to licensure. A radical departure from past practices, an HHS spokesperson told the Washington Post, who made it clear that Secretary Kennedy is not anti-vax. He's not. He's pro-safety, pro-transparency, and pro-accountability. They're going to yell, they're going to scream, and they're going to say he's an anti-vaxxer. But they're saying, no. He just wants to make sure the vaccines are good. HHS did not clarify which new vaccines will be subjected to that testing. However, the agency stated that the changes will not apply to the flu vaccines, explaining that such vaccines have been tried and tested for more than 80 years. I don't get the flu shot. Do you get the flu shot? You ever get the flu shot?
No.
So I got talked into it. It was like 2010. And
I thought you were talking money. I was like, whoa.
No. I got
paying
so
for a flu shot?
I was like, I was in Richmond, I living by myself. I'm like on my own health insurance plan. I'm a young upstart, and they're like, "Ooh, you'll save money on your health insurance if you get the flu shot." And I was like, "Okay, cool, yeah, I'll get the flu shot. No big deal. Save some money. I'm down." I got the worst flu that I have ever gotten in my life that year.
Yeah,
ever. And I was like, "Well, not doing that anymore." So.
Yeah, I think a big part of the flu shot that people forget about is that it's got the flu in it.
Yeah.
So you can help build up immunity to it for that season. It still sucks.
Yeah.
It's never a good time.
It's been
always get sick.
Tried and tested for more than 80 years. The last time I tried it was about 15 years ago, and I said never again. Secretary Kennedy has a lengthy history of advocating for enhanced vaccine safety testing, including placebo testing for vaccinations that have been approved for use. He has also advocated for longer vaccine testing studies, saying in a 2021 interview, a lot of the injuries that come from medication are autoimmune injuries and allergic injuries and neurodevelopmental injuries that have long diagnostic horizons or long incubation periods. So you can do the study and you won't see the injury for 5 years. The HHS and the National Institute of Health also announced the development of the next generation universal vaccine platform, Generation Gold Standard, for vaccines intended to treat pandemic-prone diseases. They say their commitment is very clear. Every innovation in vaccine development must be grounded in gold standard science and transparency and subjected to the highest standards of safety and efficacy testing, RFK Jr. said in a press release. HHS said that the gold generation standard developed by NIH, Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, will recalibrate America's pandemic preparedness, utilize government-led research to ensure transparency, accountability, and freedom from commercial conflicts of interest, and mark the future of vaccine development for proactive pandemic prevention. They say Generation Gold Standard is a paradigm shift that, according to NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. It extends vaccine protection beyond strain-specific limits and prepares flu viral threats, not just today's, but tomorrow's as well, using traditional vaccine technology brought into the 21st century. You're going to hear people melt down over this. And just remind them that if the vaccines are safe, that they'll be able to pass through all of the placebo testing that RFK Jr. is proposing. If what everybody screams at us that vaccines are just the biggest benefit to the human race ever, well, then they'll be able to stand up to all of this increased testing for safety and efficacy that RFK Jr. wants to do. If you truly believe that the vaccines are great, then you have nothing to worry about with the increased testing. Just remember that when people melt down about this, because they will melt down about this. It's 11:30 on Super Talk. When we get back, I want to bring you some of the highlights of Elon Musk and the Doge guys. They're not Doge kids. They're grown men. And they sat down with Jesse Waters last night for a wild interview where they went over a bunch of stuff. We'll talk about that when we get back. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We're under a severe thunderstorm watch until 5 o'clock this afternoon, talking about everybody in Middle Tennessee. In fact, right now, west of Nashville, about a 3 hours drive, we've got some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. Going to be just this side of Jackson. Very heavy rainfall around Lexington there on I-40. So you might tell your friends and your family if they're on the road today to be aware they might run into some weather going west of Nashville. On Monday, the Department of Education set to start collecting debts on defaulted student loans. Here's Bankrate consumer lending analyst and certified student loan counselor Andrew Pentis.
Not only debt collectors sort of pursuing that late federal student loan payment, but also some potential serious consequences like wage garnishment, as well as the offsetting of federal payments, like your tax refund.
5 million borrowers will face mandatory collections for the first time in more than 5 years. Tariff update. The communist regime in China seems to be inching closer to talks with the U.S. Their Commerce Department today issuing a statement saying they're evaluating the situation, but will not be forced into a bad deal. Meanwhile, reports say a loophole expires today. It means cheaper goods from China are set to become a lot more expensive for U.S. consumers. This so-called de minimis loophole exempted packages worth $800 from import levies until today. And more kids have died of the flu this season than in the past 15 years, according to the CDC.
This flu season has seen 610,000 hospitalizations and 26,000 deaths. 216 of them were children, the most since the 2009-2010 season when swine flu was spreading. Doctors say there are several reasons for this season's severity, but the biggest is the parents aren't vaccinating their children as much. Only 49% of children got the flu shot this season. 5 years ago, that number was 64%.
That's Sherry Preston, a Brazilian woman who was the world's current record-holding oldest person, died yesterday at nearly 117 years old. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Jason Whitlock, and his event, Roll Call 3.0, is officially here tonight. These guys are going to be live at 3rd and Lindsley. Jason Whitlock, Tucker Carlson in a no-holds-barred conversation, plus live music from Randy Houser, comedy from Steve Byrne. Those tickets are still available for tonight at 3rd and Lindsley. Then tomorrow, the guys are all heading over to Rocketown. Prepare for hard-hitting speakers like my pastor, Alan Jackson, Doug Wilson, Corey Brooks, with live music from Damian Horn and the Duggar Band. And you can even meet Tucker Carlson if you want to, face-to-face. They got some premium all-access passes still available, but they're vanishing quickly. So go to fearlessrollcall.com and grab yours right now. Tickets start at just $99. This event is very, very close to selling out. You have limited time if you want to get in there. It's time to step up, speak out, be fearless with Jason Whitlock's Roll Call 3.0 tonight and tomorrow live in Nashville. Fearlessrollcall.com. 36 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. So I saw this meme online yesterday. I put it on my Instagram story at Chris Hand on Air, where it says every generation gets a blue dog that helps guide them through childhood. And then it's like, the 1950s Hanna-Barbera. There's like the Blue's Clues dog. There's Bluey. And then there's my generation. It's Snoop Dogg.
That's right.
Yep.
My dog was Shaggy.
Yep.
He wasn't blue.
No.
And he could almost talk.
Yep. Speaking of dogs, let's talk about the Doge boys. You ready for this? Elon Musk and the Doge guys, they sat down with Jesse Waters last night. I think, and maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm standing alone here. Last night was the best episode of Jesse Waters that has ever been on, period. I mean, he broke the Tennessee Highway Patrol body cam footage of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. And then this interview with the Doge guys and Elon Musk was unbelievable. And one of the biggest moments was the revealing of the man, the myth, the legend. Of course, I'm talking about Big Balls.
Big Balls.
It's big. That should be obvious.
Why do they call you Big Balls?
I just said it as my LinkedIn username.
Okay.
It was his LinkedIn username.
What a name for LinkedIn.
You don't normally see that on LinkedIn, and he explains why he decided to choose that for LinkedIn.
Well, people on LinkedIn take themselves like super seriously, and they're pretty adverse to risk. And I was like, well, I want to be neither of those things. So I said it, and honestly, I didn't even think anyone would notice.
I mean, it's actually kind of brilliant. He nails it. They're averse to risk. And they're so stuffy and serious on LinkedIn. So he said, I'm gonna go with Big Balls actually instead of my real name. All right, take it.
Yeah. So what do you
LinkedIn
do?
is so cringe.
What does Big Balls do?
Right now, I'm working on some payment computer stuff. So one of our initiatives is to root out fraud and waste. And to do that, we started looking at the payment computers. And as mentioned earlier, there is no accounting of what payments actually go to in the payment computer. So you look at a specific line item, like $20 million, and you're like, okay, well, what is this money going to? And for the majority of payment systems, it's like, well, we don't really know. And
yeah, they're like, what? That would be the response.
Is this the most basic responses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most common response.
What do you say when people just say, I don't know?
Well, it's a huge cause for concern because the upstream thing, which is distributing the money, literally has no checks and no accountability to the actual American taxpayer. So it's a huge vector for fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah, this is what we need to fix. Now, by trying to fix this, you've had Elon Musk receive death threats. He's had to change some of his travel around because of death threats. He talked about this during the interview, how you're having violent protests for his death. They're burning Elon Musk in effigy. They're advocating for the death of people at Doge. And we've seen it in real world actions, numerous times. We covered on the show the damage that's being done to Teslas. We saw an elderly woman blocked on the road in her Tesla and assaulted by a grown man. We've seen Tesla dealerships firebombed. It's gotten so bad that I saw one headline and I was like, I don't know if this is anti-Elon or just California. And I don't know. You tell me. Is this sound like an anti-Tesla protester? A Tesla window is broken and a dog is stolen. And this happened in California. And I just don't know if this is just California things or if this is anti-Tesla things. Listen to this.
A Yorkie owner says that her beloved 11-year-old dog was stolen from her car earlier this month in Rowland Heights. This happened April 19th at the Puente Hills Town Center. The owner says that she left her 7-pound Yorkshire Terrier named Lemon in her Tesla with dog mode activated while she briefly ran an errand. Security video shows the suspect approached the car 3 times before smashing the window, jumping into the car, and then snatching the dog.
Again, I don't know. I don't know if that's anti-Tesla or if that's just California being California. I do know, though, that the Tesla arson suspect, the transgender Tesla arson suspect, has been released because the judge says there's a lack of gender-affirming care in jail. Yep. The 19-year-old suspect accused of setting fire to a Tesla dealership in Kansas City has been released from federal custody because the judge cited the individual's ADHD diagnosis and limited access to gender-affirming care in detention as factors in the decision. So you see these people are just spun up into a frenzy. They're reacting based on the stimuli that's being provided by the mainstream media and these leftist politicians. They're causing damage to vehicles, damage to individuals. They're threatening death to Elon Musk and the Doge guys, and then they get let out of jail because, you can't have your gender-affirming care. It's crazy. It's crazy. Carolyn Levitt was talking about this yesterday at the press briefing, which I don't know if you noticed this. Are they using the old Biden set? Remember how he had that set that looked like the Oval Office? I think that they've repurposed that set for some of these press briefings now. But Carolyn Levitt was talking about how so many people drive Teslas, and these people end up being Democrats, and their party, the Democrat Party, does nothing to stop the violence against Tesla vehicles and Tesla vehicle owners.
We have seen a rise in political violence that stems from the left, dating back to the Black Lives Matter movement, which the left and the Democrats don't want to talk about much, but they burned down American cities. And the Biden administration did nothing to prosecute those who created that violence, oftentimes not just destroying businesses, but also lives and communities as well. You look at the rise of violence against the president himself and his supporters. You had 2 heinous assassination attempts from leftist lunatics. Yep. And the president is lucky and blessed to be here today because he was able to survive that political violence and those assassination attempts. Look at the recent attacks on Tesla, on Elon Musk's company. It's quite ironic because Democrats and leftists were the greatest fans of Tesla. Many Democrats drive Teslas to this very day, but then it's that their same party who is doing nothing to stop or condemn or discourage this violence from taking place. And
what are they so upset about? Well, they're upset that Elon and the Doge team are exposing stuff like, I don't know, Taliban contracts and things of that nature at different agencies among the U.S. This was a eye-opening moment during that interview with Elon, the Doge guys, and Jesse Waters, where they start talking about the United States Institute for Peace.
United States Institute of Peace is definitely the agency we had the most fight at. We actually went into the agency and found that they had loaded guns inside of their headquarters. Institute for Peace.
I mean, any given company, any given organizational name is going to be the opposite of the title.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was by far the least peaceful agency that we've worked with, ironically.
Of course.
Additionally, we found that they were spending money on things like private jets, and they even had a $130,000 contract with a former member of the Taliban. This is real. We don't encounter that at most agencies.
Yeah.
What was the money going to the Taliban for?
So as a contractor, they received $130,000 for generic services. And to Elon's point, there was not actually a clear description of what the contractor services were for. But
was it for opium?
Unclear.
Or weapons?
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
or abroad.
And this kind of exposure leads the average Democrat to be violently angry and turn radical at a moment's notice. You're not allowed to expose the corruption inside the federal government. You should know that by now. But they kept going on. And they actually talked about when they're going into different agencies and they're realizing that individuals at those agencies are deleting information to try to cover up their crimes. Listen to this. This is wild.
After we got into their headquarters, we found that their chief accountant had actually deleted over 1 terabyte of accounting records from several years. So you'd have to ask the question, well, why would somebody do that? The Doge team, fortunately, was able to recover that data with the help of a few great employees at the Institute of Peace. And I think the most troubling thing was they received $55 million a year from Congress, and any money that went unspent, instead of returning that to Congress, they would sweep it into a private bank account, which had no congressional oversight. And that's what they would use to fund things like events at their headquarters and the private jets. And so I think it's a great example because most Americans don't know what's going on at a lot of these smaller agencies. And this is, I think, the most extreme case of some of the wasteful spend that we're finding.
Most Americans don't know what's going on at these smaller agencies. Most Americans have no idea, and the majority of Americans were completely unaware until Doge and Elon got in there. Completely unaware. And they went down even further. They said when it comes to the taxpayer money that's allocated, if it goes through D.C., they said only 10 to 15 cents on the dollar reaches the actual cause. Everything else goes into the pockets of individuals in D.C.
And accountability?
One of the, I think, extreme examples of non-accountability in some cases has occurred at some of the small agencies. I think the Inter-American Foundation, IAF, is one of the agencies we visited where, they get $50 million a year, congressional money, to give grants. These are things like, alpaca farming in Peru.
That's a real example.
Yes. That's the real description. Improving the marketability of peas in Guatemala.
Really?
Fruit jam. Yes.
What? Yeah.
So you might expect, in the private sector, a nonprofit to give, 80 to 90% of their money to grantees. In the case of IAF, that was 58%. So the other half goes towards management, travel.
What we're trying to find exactly, to use an example, is that even if you agreed with supporting alpaca farmers in Peru, actually most of the money never made it out of D.C.
Mm-hmm. Weird. Even if you're pro alpaca farmer in Peru, that money doesn't get to the alpaca farmer in Peru.
It's going into the pockets of people in the neighborhood.
What percentage?
And they didn't even get to Peru.
Right. So what percentage do you think doesn't even get to the destination it's supposed to?
I believe the GAO estimates, this is not our estimate, I believe it was on the order of only 10 to 15 cents on the dollar actually gets to the end recipient, whether you agree with that cause or not.
This is fine, the Democrats tell us. This is fine. Don't look any further. Don't ask any more questions. And if you do, we may have to firebomb a Tesla dealership. This is how the Democrats react to this kind of information. Every American should be mad about this. It's the left's tax dollars as much as it's the right's tax dollars. And when we're $37 trillion in debt, this is completely unsustainable. I just pray that everything that they've uncovered leads to actual criminal referrals, and we see the DOJ actually put some people in jail for the fraud, the waste, and the abuse that has been exposed by the Doge kids. And currently, right now, all we got is a prayer, but we'll hope that those prayers come true. It's 11:49 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 11:54, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Shout out to our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I was actually just looking at the YouTube chat.
What's going on?
We got a new guy in the chat. He goes by the name Come Work with Jerome.
Yeah?
He says, we need a shout out. A1 Bug Control. Let's go.
A1 Bug Control.
We listen to you guys in the work truck 5 days a week.
When you're killing bugs, A1 is it.
Anecdotally speaking, I have the number one show in pest control, guys. I'm just letting you know. It's this weird thing.
Number one among the pest control. We got to get that into a liner.
There's anecdotal evidence to support it.
Yeah, we got to get the Cutler, who's the guy that's the voice of everything. Number one with pest control.
Anecdotally speaking.
We think.
We've had a couple small stories that have led us to believe this. What's up, Chad? How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. What are you up to?
Ready for this weekend? What about you?
I know. I'm ready to.
Dude, let's go.
I was walking in, and I get in, and Belle turns to me with no head and says, let's just not do the show and go home.
Ooh.
I'm like, oh, we could
twist my arm.
Sounds good, but I think we're going to have to stay and do it. There's nobody else. We didn't hire anybody else to do it today.
I'm like wondering if the rain is going to hold off. So I'm doing some filming tonight. I'm going to be on Real America's Voice for Turning Point tonight. And so we do the filming at 2:00 in the afternoon. The show airs at 9.
Oh, I was going to say, you have to do it outside?
No, but I have to kick my kids out of the house.
Oh.
So I'm just praying that the thunderstorms hold off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to say don't stand in an open field or near a tree. Other than that, you should be all right.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Right?
I mean,
That's
if there's
science.
no thunderstorms, you're good. Go outside.
Science.
Playing in the rain's fun.
Playing in the rain is fun.
Lightning's not good.
No.
Don't go near water, kids.
Stay away from the water while you're out there in the rain.
What is the forecast?
Thunderstorm. We got a severe thunderstorm warning through 5 o'clock. I think
is it 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
That's a thunderstorm watch.
Thunderstorm watch.
Yeah.
Which is different than a warning.
It's different from a warning. Just got to watch for it. It means that all the ingredients are there for a storm to go severe.
Ooh,
Keep your head on a swivel.
Yes.
So that would probably cancel your baseball plans and stuff this week.
Yes, we may have to go to a Sandlot movie style Saturday.
That's not
as opposed to an on the field baseball experience.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
Kids
all
should
right.
learn that stuff. Hey, kids, we're going to watch Major League. You're going to love it.
What do you got cooking this weekend? Anything fun?
Nothing. We got gymnastics tomorrow.
There you go.
And that's it. That's about. I'm gonna rest. It's been one of those weeks where, like I was telling you, I was in my studio till 9 o'clock last night. It was at 2:30 yesterday morning till 9. After this, I went home. Had to do basically because of the whole Waltz thing, a bunch of other stuff, and then I had a bunch of things. And like 9 o'clock, I rolled out of there.
So they must still like him a little bit, at least, to make him UN ambassador. Like, because like
who was the UN? Didn't we have one already?
So we had one. I think it wasn't confirmed.
Yeah, it was like
and then it was going to be Elise Stefanik.
Yeah, I remember that. And then they didn't want to lose.
They didn't want to lose her in Congress.
And then we had like a temporary one.
I don't have any idea.
Yeah, I don't. Because at the whole after Elise left, everybody's like, whatever.
Is it really that big of a job? Like JD Vance was like, you could look at this as kind of a promotion. I was like,
no, I don't really look at it as a kind of promotion.
I don't look at it as a promotion.
They're making you leave the White House and go live in New York.
There is a rumor, though, that Stephen Miller could be the next national security advisor, which I think would be absolutely fantastic. He's one of my faves.
Marco, he doesn't have enough jobs,
Marco's doing everything.
I know.
He's in charge of USAID. He's in charge of the State Department. Now he's the national security advisor.
Who gets this job? Marco. And Marco's like, does anybody else work around here? Don't give it to Pam Bondi. Nothing will get done.
Pam. She drives me nuts.
She does. Whatever happened to Kash Patel? Is he still working?
I think so.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
I mean, I hope he's just building up cases. Like, can we hope for that?
But I haven't seen him for. You know what though? There is something to be said that slow and steady wins the race. Go in there, find out what's going on, look at everything the right way. Don't rush and do something ridiculous. Say something stupid. Measure twice, cut once.
So the difference between Kash and Pam is if Kash is quietly working behind the scenes, like I like that, whereas Pam
is on Fox
all
the time.
every
That's her new
single
job.
day. I've heard so many rumors from so many people that she looks at this job as a stepping stone to a Fox News
all
show.
All of them look for it as a stepping stone to something else because then you can get out and you get real money, right? You go from making, even if you're the AG of Florida and the AG of here and you've got some investments, you do okay. It's not $150,000 a month,
no.
$200,000 a month.
Nope.
I'll take that.
It's a lot of money.
Heck yeah, it is. I mean,
a
you know,
lot of
she's
money.
going to make in a month what's in a year that she makes in a year. So all of them, that's their job. They all want to take that next step if you're in that kind of high profile.
Yeah. What are you talking about today? What stories are you focusing on?
China. Well, you guys got to hear this. Is great. Their youth unemployment's through the roof. It gets better. They now have where you pay €6 a day, it's like $8, to go pretend you have a job so your family and friends think you have a job. And they film it. Oh, it's spectacular.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing that youth unemployment is low in China. I thought that's who was doing all the things.
So, no, that's the highest youth unemployment maybe around.
Really?
21% is what they're heading towards. Unemployed young people are not good for society, and they get pissed easy. That's when things go sideways.
Yep. China's in a tough spot, man. Chad Benson's in next. It's 12 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
China.